Hey folks, there is something lurking in the shadows, something thirsty, something unseen to us. We thought that they were a thing of legend, never seen in Hyrule before. Just a sick tale to tell the kids and frighten them for a quick laugh before bed. But recently, there have been sightings, stories, bloodthirsty monsters roaming these lands and making easy work of their prey, the people of Hyrule. One survivor, however, has made it back and told us the tale. They were almost a goner, pushed to the ground, and the creature stood above. Before attempting to end the survivor by draining their blood, the creature said these chilling words. "Vampires will never hurt you. I promise." You'd think that somewhere across the 35 plus years of fantasy adventure that a vampire would appear in the Zelda series. But no overworld vampires, no mini-boss vampires, and no regular boss vampires. Not even friendly on-your-side NPC vampires. They simply don't appear. In a series full of varying creatures including mummies, skeletons, werewolves, and many other mythical creatures, you'd think that at least one bloodsucker would be in there, right? Well, no. Not as of right now. And as a vampire-obsessed person, today, for my Halloween special 2022 edition, I'd like to discuss the addition that vampires could make to the Legend of Zelda series, and come to an ultimate answer of, does the Legend of Zelda need vampires? As well as continue our little tale from earlier. But first, be sure to go and grab yourself a spooky snack or drink and send them in to get featured right here. Also be sure to drop a like and subscribe if you haven't already, it really helps the channel out. And let's get into this one. So, as sort of already mentioned, there are two ways that this could happen, in the form of a hostile attacking enemy, or an NPC that wouldn't attack us. Let's begin with the enemy ideas. Vampires have had different appearances described and illustrated over the years. These change based on time frames and origins. Given that this is the Legend of Zelda series, games open to mostly all ages, I don't think that vampires being introduced would be done in the form of the more monstrous-like vampires, like what we see in Skyrim for example. Rather, more humanoid. A human/Hylian appearing creature, but with red eyes, fanged teeth, and ice-cold blood. Now, I personally think that it'd be really cool to see both overworld/regular enemy vampires as well as bosses. To make it all work, I'd have a vampire mansion. As a dungeon somewhere within a game. Probably not Tears of the Kingdom, but a game in future. I cannot explain to you how much I wish I could animate or illustrate what I am imagining here, but I'll try my best to paint the picture accurately with the help of the internet and my editing ability. Somewhere far out of the land, perhaps deep within a forest, a deep dark forest, the trees begin to fade in colour and gradually become near black trees the further in you go. This all leading to a mansion in the middle of the woods. Small and sleek, but noticeable once in the small opening it calls home. This small opening with a mansion in the middle of the deep dark woods is miles away from any open land. It appears empty and abandoned, especially during the day, but oddly in good condition. However, it's revealed at night that in there hides a terrifying truth. Vampires. If you approach at night, you'll see eyes in the shadows, in the trees, in the windows, piercing red, staring into your soul. They'd creep closer and closer, pushing you and forcing you to enter the castle, thus kicking off the dungeon. One that at first you'd be trapped within. In order to freely come and go in the open air style, you must first figure out how to light up the opening room with torches. These vampires work best in the dark, so it's always dark. But after solving a quick puzzle, the first room is lit up. Now, given that this isn't a dungeon video, I won't go too much into the dungeon itself, just that this mansion would be the dungeon. Kind of like Snow Peak Ruins in a way, but vampires. And in the woods. Maybe another day I'll go into the dungeon specifics. The vampires themselves, however, would be spread all throughout this mansion. Small and weak to big and strong. You'd make your way through this nightmare of a mansion, taking on vampire lore inspired puzzles, learn a small glimpse of their history, and of course fight a good few bloodsuckers, even fighting a mini boss, the vampire lord's pet, a hellhound. Then eventually progress to the boss, the vampire lord, Frerard. Lord Frerard. A grueling battle, avoiding strikes and bites to the neck until eventually besting the beast with the garlic sword, master sword. Your reward? An ancient vampire lord necklace that when worn by a non-vampire can temporarily grant the user some vampire abilities for a set amount of time before needing to cool down. These abilities would range from increased speed, stealth and strength, as well as some neat fangs and devilish red eyes. Oh, and some unique vampire attacks. Following this dungeon, vampires would spread throughout the overworld as nighttime enemies, just as the Yiga do following Koga's death, except the vampires would be exclusively nighttime enemies, found in the overworld, mainly woodlands and quiet places, more popular towards where the mansion is, but occasionally near towns and villages, keeping you on your toes whenever you go out at night, and freshening up the classic Stalfos into a new terror. Before wrapping up this segment, I would also like to discuss how I think they could attack. They'd be similar in speed to the Yiga, but more intelligent. They can sprint very fast, strike hard, and of course, attempt to bite Link, which would be the most damage heavy attack within their attacks. The other attacks being dagger slashes, speed charges, and even swiping with their sharp nails. That's my idea there. Enemy vampires would make me feel so complete if they were added to the Zelda series, but let's now talk about how more friendly NPC vampires could fit in, both instead of enemy vampires, but also with the idea of there being both enemies and friendly bloodsuckers. Starting with having friendly NPC vampires and only them. That idea also begins with us first meeting them at a mansion within a deep wooded area. It would still be pretty creepy and vampire-y, but you wouldn't be attacked. You might come across them in the game before discovering this mansion, but only in the form of seeing dark figures at night with red eyes, but if you get too close, they flee. That is until you've formally met them at the Vampire Mansion. There's a party going on there. They'd be super friendly and welcoming to Link, have a variety of fun personalities, and just love to talk to Link as they don't get many visitors due to an unfortunate fear regarding them. One that simply isn't true. There's a bit of a stereotype going around about them. In this scenario, they are quick to explain to Link that they have a horrible situation, and everybody else in Hyrule won't help as they're afraid of the vampires, who in this scenario wouldn't even hurt a human. These vampires feed on animals. This all kicks off a quest to help the vampires. The reward? Vampire abilities via a necklace. Their problem at hand? A monster infestation on their hunting grounds. Link must go on a quest to clear out the monsters that have recently made a home of the vampires' hunting grounds, as the monsters are both in the way, but also feeding on the vampire's source of blood. It'd be a neat little quest, a tough one, but resulting in a very cool reward. Now as for the situation in which friendly NPC vampires exist, but so do hostile enemy vampires. Now this is gonna be awesome. I'm shamelessly copying the rough idea again. Link finds the friendly vampires at the mansion, and they're in need once again. But only this time, it isn't because of monsters. It is because of a rival group of vampires, bloodsuckers from a different land, a faraway land, that want to take this one, and have been increasingly getting closer and closer to a full-on invasion of the Friendly One's mansion. This will kick off the quest, Vampire Wars. An epic, long-lasting quest that breaks down into multiple side quests to help the friendly vampires drive out the invading hostile vampires. A series of battles, investigations, stealth missions, and a big finale as you stand side by side the friendly vampires and face off against the leaders of the hostile vampires, finishing them off once and for all. Again, rewarding you with an ancient vampire necklace, granting powers. Just generally, NPC vampires would be so incredibly cool. There's a wide variety of contrasting personalities. There'd be so many vampires to meet and go on different side quests with them, whether that's to hunt with them, to help them with something, or just to learn some vampire lore. It'd be vampire mania, at least in this mansion. Hey, Link can maybe be their pool boy. Anyway, yeah, NPC vampires would be so incredibly cool, and who knows, maybe one would even offer to turn Link into one. As this plague across Hyrule grows with every night, the people begin searching for an answer. Where did they come from? Why Hyrule, and how do they stop them? The history of Hyrule has seen and dealt with many foes. Undead mummies, skeletal warriors, ghosts of the night, beasts of all kinds, and even the terrifying Lionel. But this new threat is one like no other. They strike at night. They appear just like the everyday Hylian, but when ready to pounce, their piercing red eyes stare you down. They knock you down before you even have time to realise, and then they suck all of your blood. They're quick, agile, and silent. Don't have a scent, don't leave a trail, and most problematic of all, are building rapidly. Their true origin is a mystery to the people of Hyrule, but allow me to let you in on it. Over the high cliffs of Hyrule is a distant land, one Hylians have never seen. A cursed land. A rural town out here was one day burnt to the ground. An unknowing group torched the village, as they knew the village had a dark past. The fire was massive, disastrous. It burnt the entire village down. But little did the residents know that the town was built on an ancient burial ground of an ancient cult, known for drinking blood and being silent assassins. This is why the unknowing group burnt the village down. They didn't like that past, but those that lived here didn't know. Nor did they know that they were actually the ancestors of those buried beneath. It was almost like a lost history to them. Their ancestors didn't possess the abilities of these creatures, but wanted to. Day after day, they manifested that their someday distant relatives could, the ones who were in the village when it burned down. They sacrificed a lot, and their manifestation came true. Following the burning of the village, the manifestation within the burial ground was released via the flames, enchanted the villagers that burned harshly, fought to be dead. The burnt villagers began rising from the ground, just as the flames died out, and the culprits were already away. Cold killers were then born. Vampires. This is the origin of the vampires in this world. Over time, they went from town to town drinking the blood of the innocent, angered by the fate of their past elders, which they went on to learn after seeing the ancient markings on the now burnt ground. In anger, they hunt down village after village to try and find who burnt their home down, leading them to Hyrule, their last potential culprit. Now to answer the question I brought up at the beginning of the video. Does the Legend of Zelda series need vampires? I'm sure it's probably clear what I'm going to say. Yes. I am a strong believer that the Zelda series needs vampires included in the near future. Obviously, the series would survive just fine without them, but I feel that vampires could add a huge new talking point in many different ways. For starters, it would be like adding new fresh meat to the list of enemies. Whilst the classics like Choo-Choos, Bokoblins, Moblins and all that repeat game after game are cool, something new and as iconic as vampires that has never been in the series would be so incredibly cool to see. It also had a bit of edge again without making the entire game edgy, like Twilight Princess for example. Plus, just look at vampires. They are gothic pieces of beauty. I think the devs could get them spot on as well with their own ideas and judgments. These were of course just my own ideas and fantasies. So yeah, I really think that vampires could make an awesome addition to Zelda. It's just a matter of, will they ever do it? I hope so. I know this is just me fantasizing, but hey, this is my channel. I love vampires. It's Halloween. I'm gonna manifest vampires being in the Legend of Zelda series in the near future. Manifest with me, please. But we're not done just yet. There is still one final chapter to the story. Let's finish this and kill them off. Vampires slowly began to invade Hyrule, attacking at night, interrogating terrified civilians, asking for answers. As some sick, twisted joke, they always repeat one phrase before finishing off a victim. Vampires will never hurt you, I promise. In their eyes, this was symbolic of how they wouldn't have hurt a soul until they were brutally attacked. The attacks became more and more frequent across Hyrule. The vampires grew, but also grew tired of lack of answers. It got to the dire point that an invasion of Hyrule Castle was being planned for the eve of Princess Zelda's birthday. The vicious, ruthless vampires planned to reach Princess Zelda alone and ask her for the answer. Nobody else owned up, so in their eyes, it's only the royals left. And I mean, fair enough. The royal family do have some dark secrets. I mean, they themselves do have a dirty dark history. It's not out of the realms of possibility that the royal family sent that group that day to burn the village, knowing the past. And now the night falls. The stage is set. Princess Zelda in her private room. Guards, easily taken care of. They've made it to just outside her room. They breezed through the castle. With their stealth, speed, and intelligence, this was easy. Zelda opens and is instantly pushed to the ground. They come in pairs. Vampires enter the room and surround the princess. They ask her firmly if the royals are behind their murder. Zelda doesn't answer at first. They ask again, and as Zelda is about to utter a soft, yeah, Link drops down from above and swiftly spin attacks all the vampires in the room, taking them all out in one go. As they are now aware of this new threat to Hyrule, vampires. In fact, aware that the outside of the room and castle is surrounded by vampires, Link says to Princess Zelda in these dire moments, knowing they're both surrounded, unlikely to survive, Link looks at Zelda as they're both sweating, crying, hoping that they'll survive. Both knowing what the royals have done, Link says to Zelda, "I'll never let them hurt you. I promise." And that is my Halloween special for 2022. I hope you enjoyed it. This was honestly my absolute favourite video to make, and what makes that fact even more special to me is that for so long I've struggled to give that title to a single video. But this video, my god, my favourite to write, record, edit, promote, everything. Now, a big shout out and credit goes to Naowo for allowing me to use their Link model in the thumbnail and also throughout the video. Awesome work there, and awesome work in general. I've linked their Twitter below where you can check out more of their awesome work, as well as their Discord server, which I myself am in and enjoy chatting in. The link to that can be found below. Definitely get joining in there. Help grow the community. Please do, it's really amazing to check out. Again, I'm very thankful you allowed me to use this. I'd also like to thank my favourite band in the whole wide world, My Chemical Romance, for inspiring me in both the video idea, but also the story I wrote up and told throughout the video. It's basically my first attempt at fanfic, sort of. I thought I'd just kind of do it as a small take to see how it goes, and honestly, there's definitely a lot of improvement to be had in terms of like actual writing, but maybe that'll come in future if I keep it up. Maybe I'll extend this story, make it full-blown. Who knows? My fellow MyChem fans out there will have definitely picked up a lot of references throughout this video, so I hope you guys enjoyed that too. I've never actually been hugely into Halloween specials, but this year I got very into it. Long may it continue. Let me know what you thought of this, and for anyone who really enjoyed the story told, I'll be uploading that as its own mini video sometime after this one goes live. I thank you all very much for watching. Let me know down below in the comments what your favourite spooky creature, person, or whatever you'd like to see added to the Zelda series is, as well as your thoughts on my vampire idea and story. I'd love to read your comments and reply. As always, be sure to drop a wee like down below if you enjoyed, and also consider subscribing for more fabulous Zelda content. Both would make my day. Follow my socials linked below to keep up to date, and as always, a huge, massive, amazing shout out goes to all of my channel supporters. Thanks a ton. Your support really helps me to make these videos week in, week out, all month long, 365 days a year. If you'd like to join them and get yourself a shout out upon joining and your name at the end of every video, then consider supporting via the links below. Thanks for watching. I hope you all have an amazing day or night, and until the next time, I've been Hyrule Gamer.